For Willie Nelson, life never followed a straight path. Looking back, it seems as if everything, every twist, every challenge, every melody, was quietly guiding him to the place he was always meant to be. The chaos, the struggles, the music, they weren't obstacles, but companions shaping him. Survival and song became inseparable, and friendships, especially with men like Kris Kristofferson, became touchstones that anchored him, offering strength when the road ahead seemed overwhelming. Born into hardship, Willie Nelson came into the world on April 29, 1933, in Abbott, Texas, a town so small it barely appeared on maps. The country was in the depths of the Great Depression, when hope was fragile and many families struggled to find enough to eat. Before Willie could even speak, life had already introduced him to absence. His mother left when he was a baby, and his father followed not long after. Willie and his sister Bobby were raised by their grandparents, Nancy and Alfred Nelson, who offered love, guidance, and a sense of discipline, along with music, which would become the thread running through his life. Yet comfort in the wider world was scarce, and the lessons of resilience came early. Music as shelter. In the Nelson household, material things were few, winters were cold, and the family pasted newspapers to the walls to keep the chill at bay. Yet in that modest home, Willie discovered a gift that would shape everything. A small, inexpensive guitar his grandfather gave him at the age of 6. From the moment he strummed it, music became more than a pastime. It was a refuge. By 7, he was writing songs and performing wherever he could, earning small amounts of money that helped keep food on the table. Music offered him a lens through which he could understand the world, a space to process feelings that he could not yet name, and a seed of the future he could only dream about. Faith, curiosity, and early rebellion. Raised in a deeply religious environment, Willie sang in the Methodist church choir every Sunday, learning the harmonies and rhythms of gospel music, while also grappling with feelings of curiosity and rebellion. Outside the church, he was drawn to sounds that felt freer, like the music of Bob Wills, listening quietly in moments of private fascination. The tension between faith and curiosity planted the early roots of what would become his outlaw spirit, a quiet, firm refusal to be confined by other people's rules, a determination to follow his own voice even when it led him away from conventional paths. Early loss and responsibility. Tragedy struck again when Willie's grandfather Alfred, the man who had taught him both music and resilience, passed away from pneumonia. The loss was profound, forcing Willie to shoulder responsibilities beyond his years, working on the farm, milking cows, and contributing to the household in ways that demanded focus, maturity, and fortitude. The grief did not harden him in bitterness, but it instilled independence and a sense that life required personal accountability. He learned early that nothing could be taken for granted, and that the strength to persevere would have to come from within. Seeking direction. After high school, Willie briefly joined the US Air Force, hoping to find structure, stability, and purpose. A back injury cut that chapter short, and once again he returned to music as both livelihood and sanctuary. He worked at radio stations, recorded songs independently, and sold records directly to listeners, learning firsthand that talent alone was not enough. What mattered was persistence, the relentless drive to continue despite setbacks, the willingness to create opportunities when none seemed to exist. Nashville Dreams. By the late 1950s and early 1960s, Willie had made his way to Nashville, full of ambition but light on resources. He slept in his car, wrote songs that would later become classics, and watched as other artists found fame performing his words, while he struggled to gain recognition as a performer. The experience was humbling, teaching lessons about the music industry, ownership, and the challenges of carving out a space for oneself. Despite frustration, he absorbed every lesson with quiet determination, understanding that success would not come overnight and that the journey mattered as much as the destination. Facing life's hard lessons. There were moments when rejection and scarcity weighed heavily, when Willie questioned his path. Yet music and friendships offered lifelines. Even small gestures, a job offer, a placement of one song, reminded him that survival often depended on the people who saw potential in him, even when he could not. These moments reinforced a pattern that would repeat throughout his life. When the road seemed impossibly difficult, music and connection provided the motivation to keep moving forward. Learning from the honky-tonk. Returning to Texas, Willie performed in rough bars where tempers flared, and survival required both resilience and intuition. Those nights were formative, teaching him how to command attention, navigate conflict, and trust his instincts in high-pressure environments. The chaotic energy of honky-tonks mirrored the unpredictability of life itself, and he carried those lessons into every stage and studio he later encountered, finding his true voice. Even as his songs began to chart, Willie resisted attempts to conform to the polished expectations of record labels. Rather than compromise his authenticity, he chose to walk away from security, stepping into uncertainty to preserve his artistic integrity. Though that meant financial strain, it also marked the beginning of his most significant creative rebirth, a time when freedom, honesty, and personal expression became the pillars of his work. Austin and the outlaw spirit. In the early 1970s, Willie returned to Texas and discovered Austin, a city alive with eclectic culture, where long-haired hippies and working-class cowboys danced on the same floors. Here, he found acceptance and community in a way he had never experienced before. Albums like Shotgun Willie and Red-Headed Stranger emerged from this environment, raw, unapologetic, and intimate, proving that music could resonate deeply without needing polish or commercial conformity. Redefining country music. When Red-Headed Stranger became a sensation against all expectations, Willie showed that trusting intuition often yields the most profound results. His success did not just advance his career, it reshaped the country music landscape, giving voice to artists who did not fit neatly within Nashville's rules and inspiring a generation of musicians to embrace individuality over convention. Brotherhood on the highway through collaborations with Waylon Jennings, Johnny Cash, and Kris Kristofferson, Willie discovered something beyond commercial achievement: deep, abiding camaraderie. These men understood the cost of remaining true to oneself, the toll of life on the road, and the necessity of support in challenging times. Together, they formed the Highwaymen, not as a brand or marketing concept, but as a shared testament to resilience, friendship, and mutual respect. Navigating fame and setbacks, with fame came public scrutiny, legal complications, and financial hurdles, including a serious tax crisis that tested both his patience and ingenuity. Willie confronted these challenges head-on, refusing to retreat despite adversity, finding creative solutions, and demonstrating that perseverance is as much about mindset as talent. Personal triumphs and heartbreak. Behind the public persona, Willie faced private losses, including the death of a son and the end of earlier marriages. These experiences brought profound sorrow, but they also offered lessons in resilience and self-awareness. Over time, he cultivated a clearer understanding of himself, learning to care for his health, nurture his family, and prioritize the relationships that truly mattered. Annie D'Angelo, an anchor. Marriage to Annie D'Angelo brought stability to Willie's life, in ways that had previously seemed elusive. She offered guidance, demanded accountability, and provided unwavering support, allowing him to rebuild not only his health, but his sense of purpose. Together, they nurtured a family rooted in honesty and music, grounding Willie even as his career continued to flourish. Aging with grace. As the years progressed, Willie refused to slow down. He explored new musical genres, collaborated with artists across generations, and performed with vitality, proving that creativity and passion do not wane with age. Reinvention became another form of survival, a reminder that evolution is possible at any stage of life. Kris Kristofferson. A lifeline. Among the friendships that shaped him, the bond with Kris Kristofferson was particularly profound. Built on mutual respect and shared experiences of being outsiders, their relationship went beyond professional collaboration. Kris's songwriting, insight, and presence offered support during Willie's darkest moments, providing quiet yet indispensable guidance. Speaking from the heart. When Kris Kristofferson passed in 2024, Willie openly acknowledged the depth of that friendship, recognizing the profound impact Kris had on his life. The regret of not expressing his gratitude sooner was palpable, yet it also highlighted a truth about human connection. Even icons have unspoken truths, and the influence of those who lift us up can be felt long after words are said. A life of survival. Willie Nelson's story is not simply one of fame or achievement. It is a testament to endurance, to the power of music as sanctuary, and to friendship as a source of survival. It reminds us that setbacks do not define us, that integrity often comes with risk, and that even in the face of loss, reinvention and growth remain possible. Music as a lifelong companion. Throughout his life, music has been both refuge and compass, shaping Willie's understanding of the world and offering him a voice when silence felt unbearable. Songs became markers of his journey, reflecting moments of joy, grief, and reflection, and connecting him to audiences who found fragments of their own stories in his melodies. Legacy of courage and honesty. In the final measure, Willie's story is defined not by perfection, wealth, or accolades, but by persistence, honesty, and the courage to remain true to oneself. Through challenges, heartbreak, and triumph, he has maintained a life rich in creativity, human connection, and insight, showing that the bravest act of all is often simply continuing to move forward, one step, one song, one day at a time, still singing, still living. Even now, as he looks back on nearly a century of life, Willie continues to sing, to create, and to inspire. His journey, full of twists and surprises, is a living reminder that survival and artistry are intertwined, that friendships sustain us, and that life's richest moments often come when we remain open, curious, and courageous. The road may be unpredictable, but it is in navigating it with honesty and heart that a life finds its truest meaning.